buenos días. Hoy vamos a tomar un café con la directora de la película Piaffe, Anne Oren. Egunon, Anne Oren, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, thank you.
And the title of your film is Piaffe. So I would like to ask you, what is the meaning of Piaffe and what is the relationship with the title and the film?
Well, Piaffe is a horse dressage move when it's trotting in place, and the name originally comes from Italian Piaffe, where in the days where you had warriors on horseback, where they would keep the horse in a constant state of excitement in place, and this is that later became this movement in dressage and artistic horse riding. And the protagonist in the film, Eva, is creating a Foley for the commercial featuring a horse, and the horse is doing a Piaffe there. So she's creating Foley for a Piaffe movement. Yeah.
And that movement what is the relationship with the protagonist, the journey that she goes through, and that kind of movement and excitement?
Well, she's in different situations. You discover that she's a submissive person, but it's later in the beginning she feels weak, but towards the end of the film you see that it's from a position of a lot of power, and she puts herself in like she follows one of the characters, and she just She makes a certain game of submission where she's just waiting and waiting to see what the other person is going to do. So this is this kind of excitement. Yeah, it's.
This film is also a piece of art, under my opinion. And
Thank you.
I know that your background is you are a visual artist, and the film goes beyond the cinematic experience. Could you share with us how do you work as a visual artist, and what is the impact of your background in the process of creation of this film?
Well, working with video installations before, for many years, I think a lot about the body of the viewer. I really conceptualizing the film and also editing it in the end, also with the sound. I really imagined the body of the viewer in the cinema room, and I wanted the viewer to feel the film, not just to think about what the story is, but to go through somehow with their body through the same journey that the protagonist is going through. She's going through a bodily transformation and a psychological transformation, but I wanted it to just creep into the body of the viewer. In many cases, it happens with sound. I think viewers are used to seeing when there are visual manipulation, but with sound, like you don't know how it affects you. And so I wanted the film to be a visceral journey more than anything else.
A visceral journey.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay, and then we feel that actually. I think it is. Sometimes your film is called one of those body pleasure films, and I think it's also because we feel it, right? Would you like to comment a little bit on that, on why, or maybe we can get rid of like names or...
Yeah, I wouldn't say body pleasure. It's the characters. There's not a lot of dialogue in the film, and the characters, they communicate a lot through. You see that there's an intuition, desire, attraction, or repulsion. Is that what?
Repulsion.
Repulsion between, like, with some of the side characters that reject her or don't create limits, like the boss director or the nurse and so on. The veterinarian there. So the way, the details of how the relationship between the characters are seen show a lot of intuition and like energies between the bodies of the protagonist, and Can you say again? I forgot.
No, don't worry. No, it was because we read that it's a body pleasure film. So it means like
it's very sensory. I mean, the whole process when she's creating Foley and to go into the details of creating the sounds of the horse, she really breaks down also the body of the horse into sounds. And she discovers, because Eva, essentially she takes over her siblings' job as a Foley artist. So not only does she Foley, but she learns how to Foley, and the viewer with her learns how to Foley. Yeah. So she, it begins when she's discovering all the different textures in the boxes in the Foley studio, and later other things, the tale itself. Later, even when we look at the ferns, for example, or she goes to visit the horse, the horse actor from the commercial, she it all goes like through touch, and that's also part of the reason why I wanted to shoot it on 16mm, to have this very tactile.
The texture.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, how we can feel everything that you are sharing with us about the film. But I would like to ask you, what do you really want to tell us with your film? Because there are many concepts, ideas that are portrayed that goes beyond the body pleasure or the texture. I think there are concepts, very interesting concepts. Maybe you can share with us what concepts are those. We can talk about the otherness, the possibility of live differently. There's room for everything. So maybe you can tell a little bit about it.
I don't know how to answer this, because I don't. It's like when people ask, like, what is the message in the film, and I feel like if I would be able to, if I would tell this in one sentence, then why do I need to make a film of 86 minutes? But I think that in terms of like themes, the tale in the film is basically a celebration of otherness. The character goes through a process. She's very introvert, and she doesn't communicate a lot with words, and sometimes it's difficult to understand what she wants. And then in the process of the film, she comes to the tale grows, and it could be it's like an odd organ, but then it also grows hair, and it becomes something very luscious and attractive, and she gets attention for it from particular characters, and then in the end, I don't want to reveal what happens in the end, but it's she kind of like wants to highlight the origin of actually what it really means, and to celebrate herself and who she really is. Maybe she's different, but she's very comfortable with it. She's very connected to her own body in the end. So yeah, and also it's a lot about a Foley artist that is working alone in a dark room so many hours, and then steps out into the world and has a kind of like a disconnect from the rest of it, because she's like so consumed with the details that she's been repeating diligently. I think it speaks also a lot about a culture of isolation, that we have a lot of, a lot of professionals work by themselves for like long hours, and then you become this thing that you're imitating. So it's also a lot about losing yourself in your own work in many ways. And yeah, there are a lot of...
It's very interesting what you say, losing yourself in your own world. But I'm curious about one thing in the movie. When she listens to somebody telling her, I love you, she runs away. Why is that, and how can we relate to that?
Well, it's the whole...
Because we are experienced, we are the spectators. We go with her, and suddenly she escapes. In a sense, we all want to be told, I love you. So I think it's interesting why you decide to make her escape or running away from that.
Because she courts this botanist, and they have a very thrilling affair. It's very short. It's something very new. It's about meeting somebody that you don't really know. You have a certain fantasy of who they are or who they might be, but you don't really know, and that's part of what's exciting. You know, you don't have all the answers yet, so your fantasy goes wild. And also the same as when she's alone in the Foley studio, and she has to imagine all the time. Then there's a big space for the imaginary. So and this relates also to the meaning of Piaffe that you asked in the beginning, that you come to an unknown person that attracts you for some reason, and then you don't know what the other side is going to do, and you're in a way kind of like a passive situation, but you're in a constant state of excitement. So they have a few encounters that are very thrilling, and she's always the subject. He's doing things to her. She's not doing anything to him. So it's a lot about her discovering her body, how it's changing. She's so they meet twice, and then the last time that they meet, she always expect for him to raise the bar. For her, it's more a thrilling affair than a love story. I mean, love, it takes time, and I think that when he reveals his love to her, it breaks the game, and it's the opposite of, I guess, what she was looking for, and she's a bit disillusioned with her own fantasy. So it's a lot about having an idea of something and having it shattered. Yeah.
Very interesting. Having an idea and then experience and realize that it's not what you thought. I think it's interesting that the mental health is there, actually. The commercial is about a solution for your mental imbalance, and also her relative is in a mental institution. So I think it's interesting why did you choose to portray or to evoke the mental health in this film?
First of all,
it's there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I made a short film before I made Piaffe. I made a short film called Passage, and the character of Zara, who is this non-binary sibling of Eva, is in the short film. And then the idea is that so Zara was the Foley artist, and from the process of making Foley, they had a nervous breakdown and went to the hospital, and then Eva had to take over the Foley job. And the inspiration was that I was researching for the film, and one of the Foley artists that I was speaking to was telling me that when a Foley artist first starts out, they can experience a psychotic episode because they're working in a completely sound-proof room, and every single thing that they hear, they build diligently, layer by layer by layer. And then when you step out into the street and suddenly you have all these sounds that are coming from all directions, they don't match the picture, they don't make sense, and it's too much sensory overload. So that's when I started making this connection, and then I was thinking, like, what would... I wanted Eva to make Foley for something, and I realized it should be a commercial, and I thought, what is a very contemporary product? And I think these... antidepressive mood stabilizers. I lived in New York for many years, and they actually have advertisements on television for prescription medication. So I watch a lot of these kind of commercials, and I thought that they're very interesting cultural phenomenon. And so the way it's structured in the film is that the sibling character Zara is intended to be between an actual character or an alter ego / the guru of Eva, because it's actually a very powerful character, it has a strong influence on Eva, and so the commercial, the Equili that we made up, this pill that Eva is creating Foley for, is the same one that Zara is blaming Eva for the side effects, as if it's Eva's fault. So you could think that from that maybe Eva has been doing the this commercial for so long that she imagined the sibling, and she imagined the sibling that is taking this pill that is in the commercial. So it's really woven, and not in a very linear way. In the end, you kind of piece it together.
Exactly. There are a lot of elements that are very, very interesting. So thank you very much, Anne, for this conversation. We are going now to finish the interview. Vamos a terminar el café con un clip de la película. Eskerrik asko.